Hello, welcome. My name is Marco from Water Dragon Arts. Today I want to share a standing Dantian Gong exercise with you. If you enjoy this, please subscribe or leave me a like, or maybe just ask some questions in the comments. I'm always happy to help. What is Dantian Gong? First of all, I just briefly explain what it is. It's a specific Qigong exercise or, neigong exercise. It can be practiced for various reasons. For example, to develop the Dantian field. Now, the exercise that we do now is meant to basically build the yin aspect of the Dantian, the container which we need to develop first, so later in the practice we will be able to accumulate qi and fill the qi in this container. Basically build the Dantian and then fill qi inside of it. Through different exercises, for example, Xiaozhou Tian, we will be able to store and accumulate more and more qi until it's reached an abundant amount, a sufficient amount, so we can begin to circulate qi within our body. Now, this exercise, what we'll do today, and many of the Dantian Gong exercises, in fact, essentially what they are is a set of different movements of the hands in front of our lower abdomen. To break it down, that's pretty much what it is, because we will move our hands in a fairly simple fashion. Now, that being said, you know that Qigong is not always just that easy, right? There are a few things that we need to pay attention to. There are different places that we need to focus our mind on, absorb the mind in different areas of the body, and so on. So, to just briefly give you a rough idea of what you have to do is, ideally, you have to have a good meditation practice, and you might have done some Dantian Gong meditation, seated meditation before, in which you have narrowed down the sphere of the lower abdomen. This is a really helpful exercise to begin these exercises, because you will need to be able to keep the mind in the focus point in the lower Dantian, the center of the lower Dantian, throughout the movement, throughout the exercise. So what does it mean, narrow down this sphere? That beginning exercise is basically us sitting and meditating and just placing our awareness on the lower abdominal area, and then create a sphere in front of the mental eye. Basically just feel the outside and the inside of the tissues. It's not an imagination, right? We're literally trying to be aware of that area. And then we start to narrow down that sphere step by step until we reach a fairly small point, maybe something like a tennis ball or ping pong ball shape. And in this point, we will then search a specific point, which will be easy to determine because there are different sensations that come along with that. When we have found that spot, then we know it, in short. I will go maybe more in detail about that in a later lesson, or if you want, you can learn more about these things in the online academy or one of my courses, of course. So now when we do this exercise, I will show you, we want to keep our mind in the lower Dantian, basically in the space 2 to 3 fingers below the navel and then inside. Okay, at the same time, we want to stay in the way that we sit into the Kwa, because we want to bring the center of gravity into the lower Dantian as well. The next thing that we do is we bring the breath into the lower Dantian. So there are already 3 things that are basically coming together in the lower Dantian. Now, to bring the breath there, you need to naturally develop a soft and calm breath. Okay, it's not about trying to force or push the breath into the lower abdominal area. Basically, you have to practice and just allow yourself to reach a natural and deep and calm state of meditation and breathing. The 4th things, so that then we have all the 4 things together for Dantian Kung, is the movement of the hands, which are also in front of the lower Dantian. We move them in different ways, together, outside, and then what we will learn today, always in quarter circles, basically. The important part about this is that we stretch the palms open and we open Laogong, one of our 5 energy gates in the body, right? 2 are neigong trend points in the feet. Bai Hui is the 3rd one, and the 2 centers of the palms. So we want to stretch them open so that we can get an effect on the inside of our body. So we're not just moving the hands in a random kind of way, but we're moving them in such a way that we will actually reflect what happens within our body. So we will get an effect inside the body depending on how we move our hands. So the hands reflect what happens with the chi inside. Okay, so to get started, first of all, I want you to come into shoulder wide stance and I want you to relax. Assume your qigong stance. Okay, so you're sitting into the quad, the pelvis relaxes down, the crown of the head is suspended from above. Just take some time to settle. Naturally, when you practice this at home, you will take a few minutes or maybe even 5 minutes standing in this posture. But now, for the sake of this video and to teach you how to do this, I will shorten this period of time a little bit. Try to release the pelvis down a little bit more. This point of the crown up a little bit more so you have a nice stretch in the spine. Sink the chi, relax all the muscles down towards the feet. So that you feel that your center of gravity is low. Next thing we do is we bring the palms facing each other in front of our lower abdomen. We're opening Laogong, so we're slightly spreading the palms. And first we will just move the hands close together and move them apart again. Okay? Now, some of you might want to immediately rise up and then sit into the core again as they do this movement. But in this case, we want to remain in this lower position of the core. We want to remain sunk so that the center of gravity remains in the lower abdomen the whole time. So there is no rising up or down. We coordinate this movement with the breath. We bring the palms together when we exhale and we expand on the inhale. The speed of this movement depends a bit on how deep your breath is. So if you have a long breath, you will do this movement a lot slower and a bit faster when you have a shallow breath. Don't worry, either one is just fine. Ideally, of course, you want to have a naturally calm breath. You want to keep the mind absorbed in the lower abdomen. Breathe naturally, don't try to change it or manipulate the breath. When you keep your mind in the lower abdomen, you might feel some sensations there as you're moving the hands. which means that you might feel that your Dantian is expanding a little bit. It might feel like a little bit of tension, or also compressing it a little bit when the palms move together. If this is the case, that's a good thing, okay? But you want to keep the mind inside. Though some of you might have a sensation on the outside of the hands as well, which is natural, but just keep the mind inside. Okay, next inhale. I want you to begin to move in quarter circles. So left hand to the bottom, right hand to the top. And then you exhale, the top hand moves down towards the bottom hand. You inhale, you move into the horizontal plane. And again, exhale, hands move towards one another. Inhale. Another quarter circle, this time in the opposite direction. So the right hand goes down and the left hand goes up. And then exhale, bring the palms together. Go up, quarter circle, horizontal plane. And exhale, bring them together. So we're just always moving from one side to another. From one plane to another. From here, from the vertical plane into the horizontal plane. Back into the vertical plane. Now the bottom hand will just move up a little bit. You see that the upper hand travels a greater distance. That is because we want to bring the palms together in front of the lower abdomen, right? So if we would move both hands at the same time, so in this case the upper hand is up here, the other hand here, we would basically meet in the middle, and this would be the height of the solar plexus, which is not where we want to bring the palms together. But we want to do it down here in front of the lower abdomen. And in order to do that, basically the upper hand has to go down far lower than the lower hand has to go up. Okay? Now as you're doing this movement, I'm just showing it to you using this prop. You just keep doing. You will always move the hands facing each other. Okay, so imagine you're having a stick like this. You can even use a prop like that yourself. Cut off a broomstick or something like that, for example. As you're moving the hands around, Laogong is always facing Laogong. Okay, so you keep the palms facing each other. As you're doing this, and it might take a few days or a few weeks, of course, while maintaining focus, your attention on the lower Dantian, that spot that I was talking about in the beginning, you might feel that with the movement of the hands comes actually an internal movement as well at the same time. Don't be afraid or confused when this happens. This is exactly what you want to do. That means the movement of the hands actually affects the chi on the inside. And this is what helps developing the Dantian. Finally, you come back into the horizontal plane. and then move back to your natural position. Now all the principles are still applied here, which means that my pelvis is still sunk, relaxed down, crown of the head still up. But here I'm not gonna get involved with anything anymore. I'm not focusing on my lower abdomen anymore. I'm just allowing my body to do whatever it needs to do and the chi to adjust itself. The body regulates itself. And I'm just standing here, relaxing the pelvis down as good as I can for a few minutes, and then you can conclude your practice. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a very effective practice to help build the yin aspect of the lower dantian. If you wish to learn a bit more about Qigong, just follow the channel or leave me a like. And of course, you find some links under the video as well. I do offer an online academy as well, where you can begin to learn Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan from A to Z. Thank you for watching.